The Fertile Crescent, Section 3, The Legacy of Mesopotamia. Boys and girls, just notice the map on the right. The shaded area in green is called the Fertile Crescent. Now you might think, why do they call it the Fertile Crescent? Well, we know that fertile means what? Means rich soil. Therefore, the assumption is that this area was really very, very good for growing, for farming, for food surplus. Notice on one side, the Tigris and Euphrates rivers are pictured, and the other side, as it extends into Egypt later on, is the Nile River. So it's important to remember that these rivers are the basis of early city-states of the time. Hammurabi's Code. Hammurabi's Code was the first set of laws to be written down ever in human history. Now, the word code just means a list. If you notice to the right, you'll see a picture of the original Code of Hammurabi and all the different symbols and lines that were used. This code was based on the idea of an eye for an eye, meaning if you do something to hurt someone else, something will be done to you in return. Was it equal for all people? No. The harshness of the punishment depended on the importance of the victim or the affected person. The more important the victim, the harsher the punishment. The less important the victim, such as a slave, the least punishment. A person who accidentally broke the law was as guilty as the criminal. Now for the art of writing. Writers were called scribes, and they were very important. It was very difficult, boys and girls, to learn how to write this cuneiform, so those who did learn were considered to be a very high social class. Records were kept for trade, government, taxes, marriages, and deaths. Clay from the rivers was used to create tablets, which were dried and used for records. They would use clay tablets instead of paper. Notice the chart to the right, and you see how the sun and God and heaven and the mountains are all depicted differently across the chart. You see the basic outline character, and then notice how the Assyrians changed it a bit, and notice later on how the Babylonians changed the symbol. Interesting to see that. At first, the pictures were used, but later scribes combined symbols to create cuneiform, which was the first written language. Key ideas to remember. We have to remember about King Hammurabi. He was the very first king who ever created a system of writing, and we call that system Hammurabi's Code, the first list of laws that was ever written down in human history. What were the laws based on? Well, the laws were based on an eye for an eye, meaning that swift punishment was given out for inappropriate behavior. Why was writing invented? Well, laws had to be written down using cuneiform, their system of writing, so that everyone knew what they were. Records had to be kept. This was the beginning of history, and as I said, you know, Babylonia and its huge trading empire needed to keep records for all sorts of things. Were the laws equal for all? The laws were not equal for all. Punishment was dependent on the victim's social class.